Life is good.
Yeah.
You gotta love that. Hi, I'm Dennis Gage, and welcome to My Classic Car. Well, this week we're back down in Ocala, Florida to check out a couple more cars from the seemingly limitless collection of Jim and Rick Schmidt. Now, these guys specialize primarily in low-mileage, unrestored original cars. A lot of them a little bit off the beaten path, a little bit off the mainstream. But today, we're coming right at you with in-your-face muscle cars of the 60s, a fabulous Shelby GT500-68 and a Chevelle SS 396. Man, this takes me back in time. I feel young again. Let's do this thing. Well, Rick, great to see you again, man.
Great seeing you too, Dennis.
Man, you've always got such fun toys to play with. But you know, we play with a lot of, you have a lot of pretty esoteric cars, kind of, you know.
Yeah, we dabble around the fringes.
You do.
You can say that.
You do. But today we're going to do some kind of in-your-face
muscle
60s,
cars.
60s muscle.
You know, NPD, you know, we make our living selling parts for muscle cars, but we're never featuring. Maybe we should do something.
Maybe we should do something about
So we
this.
brought a couple of really cool muscle cars out here, and the first one is a car that's probably closer to my heart in the collection than just about anything that we have.
Well, this has been like in the fam for quite a while, right?
Yes, it has. It got away from us for several years, but my father was able to buy it back in 1991. But yeah, in 1975, my dad spied this car for sale in the classifieds in the Orlando newspaper, and bought it for 2,000 bucks. You know, in low mileage, just like a barely used KR Shelby, and that became my mother's daily driver for the next few years after that.
Wait a minute, your mom drove this?
Yeah.
She was like around.
She was the manager of the lingerie department at Moss Brothers at the time.
Well, you gotta look good.
and that's what she drove back and forth to work.
My gosh, it's a 68 Shelby 500 KR, king of the road.
Yes. It's the top banana.
So okay, let's talk about the Shelby, the Shelby Mustang. There was a lot of treatments that they did for style and also for functionality.
Yes, this is basically a Cobra Jet Mustang, but with a fully functional ram air hood with louvers that allow heat to escape. It's got an oil air cooler hiding behind the grille. All the transmissions were set up with Ford's drag pack internals, so the car shifts very crisply and strong. You can break the tires loose.
Is it four-wheel discs?
No, it's front discs and rear drums.
Wow, that's
yes,
amazing.
but it came with 15-inch wheels and was basically Ford's heavy-duty comp suspension setup. You had the roll bar and the racing harnesses, and then just all the other trim and features that make it a Shelby. But there's an awful lot going on with it. It's not just a Mustang with scoops.
Now the scoops here, are these decorative or do they have any functionality?
By this time, the lower scoops, which used to cool the brakes in the earlier year Shelbys, were just decorative. The top scoops, there's fresh air vents on the inside, so it's just a overly styled way of circulating air in the cabin.
Oh, nice though.
Right.
But you're right about, the roll bar and everything. That came as part of the package.
Right, yeah, it came with part of the package as well as the harnesses. And I remember when I was a kid, and this was before we had airbags and all these regulations, that once I was buckled in and had that harness on, the harness allowed you a lot of movement as you were a kid because it only engaged if there was a sudden stop or go.
And this is the that
flyaway steering wheel. You open the door and it flies away so you can get in and out easier, and then you have to have this locked back into position to start the car. There's a whole vacuum switch underneath the dash that makes sure that you're back into position to start.
The Cobra insignia on the wooden T-handle.
On the wooden T-handle, you can see on the seat belts in the console, they have Cobra insignias in them. There's Cobras everywhere. So.
Man. And it's, I guess they call this Highland Green. I always talk about
Highland Green.
The Bullitt. It's the Bullitt Green from Steve McQueen movie.
Yes.
Beautiful body style. And this has got, when they relaunched the retro Mustang, a lot of it was based on the 68.
Came up with the proportions of this, yeah. Yeah, it really is a pretty car, and again, the Highland Green just casts all the shadows and makes you appreciate all the nice body.
That's so Shelby, and these are sequential too, right?
Yes.
Right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
And how about the dual tips there?
The dual tips down there, that was specific to the KR. Prior to the KR, which the KR was introduced mid-year. Before that, it was just the GT500 that had a single round tip with a extra pipe on the inside of it.
I think that looks really cool.
Yeah.
It looks like brand new license plate too. Sunshine
That's
State,
a
1960.
Newell stock Florida 1968
Of course, you
license
guys
plate.
would
Yeah.
have those, wouldn't you? Yeah. So KR is going to have the 428 Cobra Jet.
Cobra Jet engine, yes.
Let's go look at it.
All right.
Boy, and that looks brand new.
We went completely through the car on this last restoration and left no stone unturned, and all the details as accurately as we could possibly research it and
I see all
execute
the
it.
paint, you know,
paint
approvals,
okay,
and you
approvals.
got, you know, your tags and your stickers, and your hoses have all the right stuff. But of course,
all the right colors and paint dabs and everything. We put an awful lot of effort into the engine compartment. It runs like it's fuel injected. We've really got it dialed in.
well, let's take this Mustang out for a run.
Let's do it.
All right. Here we go. These things, the Shelbys, they're just such icons of
Yeah.
the era. It really, from a Ford standpoint, it was really kind of a marketing thing, wasn't it?
You know, Ford took the extra step of taking, you know, somebody who was heavy into their racing program and fielding teams for them, and Carroll Shelby, and actually promoting and making a legend out of the guy.
A branded vehicle, yeah.
Yeah.
Give him a little taillight action there. Really a smooth engine for this much power.
Yeah,
Really smooth.
as legendary muscle car engines go, the 428 Cobra Jet is really the smooth operator. It really is, you know. When they're really tuned right, these Cobra Jets are mean running cars.
It sings, it just
Yeah.
purrs.
But a 428 Cobra Jet, you know, in lightly optioned form was ready to take on anything that Chrysler or Chevy or Oldsmobile had to offer. You know, of course, I'm not saying it was the fastest thing out there, but was it competitive? Absolutely.
I love looking out over the louvered hood and everything. It's also bumped up a bit from the stock hood, isn't it?
Yes, yes, which allows for the large plenum that's under there that collects the air through the two front snouts and then drops it into the air cleaner. That was a one year only deal as far as this hood on the Shelbys.
And what a great restoration on this car.
It's not too often that you can jump into a 428 that's been sitting for 6 months, hit the ignition, and it fires to life instantly.
So before the restoration of this, and you were using it, you know, kind of as a daily driver or pseudo daily driver, did people really dig seeing a Shelby out and about being used like it's supposed to be used?
Yeah, they assume it's a fake when they see it out being used.
Really?
They just, you know, I think every Shelby owner gets that everywhere they go. Is that a real one? And then you say yes, and then half the people still kind of look at you with one eyebrow raised.
Sure it is. Sure it is. Well, man, I've always loved Mustangs, particularly Shelbys.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so much fun. This car though, this 396 Chevelle was one of its competitors.
It was one of its competitors on the streets. The Shelby was quite a bit more expensive, just being a Shelby.
Sure.
The Chevelles, the reason that one of the reasons they're so popular today is because they were so affordable back, you know, during the day. Chevrolet therefore sold a bunch of them.
There's a lot of them out
and
there.
a lot of them have survived. So.
Well, beautiful car. Now, you know, the Chevelle been around for a long time. This is a 2-year body style, 66 and 67. Personal preference, but I think this is the prettiest Chevelle ever made.
Yes, yeah, I agree. And that the combination of driveline, color options.
Yeah, like this triple blue, you know, marina blue exterior, blue interior, and blue convertible top. I didn't
Yes.
even know that was an option.
It was rare, but it was an option.
It's just, you know, just amazing. And between the 66 and 67, there's not a heck of a lot of difference. A little bit of trim treatment in front and rear, right? That's about it?
Front and rear are the major differences between 66 and 67. But I think the 67 is the home run of the two.
I do too. And again, personal preference, but it's
Yes.
my favorite of the two, red line tires. But man, the interior, I mean, this has obviously been gone through.
Yes.
Did
Yeah,
you
the whole
guys
car's
restore
been-
it, or was it? You
No,
bought it?
it was this way when we bought it.
What an interesting dash, though. You know, having
Isn't
your key up, you know, this whole panel that runs
Having
across
all of
the
your
top.
knobs and controls up high really is nice because it's easier to reach. You aren't down there fumbling by your knees trying to read what's down there in the shadows.
Yeah, yeah, and then your gauge is set back under that
Mm-hmm.
shade, so you're not, you know, you're not getting light over it.
Yeah, it's a very Chevrolet. I think, you know, whereas Pontiacs were typically very racy and ornate and a lot of chrome and a lot of activity going on, Chevy really went for clean, almost Art Deco designs in the
Yeah,
60s
it's nice.
that were very functional and very easy to live with.
It really looks nice, and then the 4-speed.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, with the console, you got to have a console if you got buckets.
and the clock in console.
And I've got my funky little AudioVox FM receiver. It was in the car.
Period correct.
Yeah, and I tend to leave period correct modifications alone if I find them charming and it actually works. I can listen to an FM station when I'm cruising. Not a whole lot to listen on AM anymore.
Now, what? Oh, the far left gauge over there, is that?
That's the tachometer.
Well, that
And,
was.
and it covers up the turn signal on the left-hand side of the dashboard. So the way everything's wired is the turn signal is also in the tach.
No kidding. So that it came that way?
Yes.
That's not an add-on.
No.
How interesting. I mean, she's just beautiful. I mean, it's like, I mean, again, just like showroom.
Yeah. GM was really, really on top of their game in
really were.
66 and 7.
So now 396,
350 horsepower.
350 horsepower.
Which
so it's the bigger
was
396.
which was the option. It was the upgrade from the 325. It was really essentially because it was the same cylinder heads. It was a more aggressive cam and fitted with a better Holley carburetor.
But still hydraulic lifters.
Yes.
Let's go look at it.
All right.
Oh, now that's real pretty. And boy, is that different than the Shelby.
Yeah, this is the polar opposite of the Shelby, you know, and part of that is due to GM's front suspension design, which eliminates the shock towers that you got.
Yeah, they come in
cringing.
the Mustang. I mean, they're
And
like
it's
right up
just
here.
so much easier to work on these cars. You've got access to everything. You can just
Really?
about crawl into the engine bay with the motor and work on it.
But man, she looks just great. And even, you know, like all your cars, you got all the chalk marks and the
Yep.
tags and the codes and everything.
Lots
everything
of
like it
attention
should
to
be.
detail, and we've got it running out great, and the way it ought to. Yeah, that's a huge priority with us. Is it's not just getting it all detailed to look
Not
pretty,
just pretty to look at.
but we want it to function like it would have been. That's what I enjoy driving old cars. Is the time warp, is imagining that I'm back in 1967 and
this
the
is how
car's
it
brand
was.
new and I just bought it. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I really enjoy. So, you know, slapping a bunch of modern parts on the cars, that takes away from the time warp experience for me.
Well, hey, let's go back in time. Let's take
do
this
it.
out for a cruise.
All right.
All right. Nice. What an interesting place for the switch.
Easier to reach then.
It is. It's right there. That'd be real nice when it comes to putting the key in. There's a little bit of chatter on the clutch.
Once you're going, you're going.
This color has always been a fave. With that blue top, that blue convertible top.
I love the bright blue interiors.
This is called Marina Blue? Is that
Marina
right?
Blue.
Marina Blue.
It's just cheers me up being in these blue interiors.
It's a hefty interior.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
thing just looks really
It's got
different.
a really distinctive look
Yeah.
to it.
It just looks different. Doesn't have quite the authoritative rumble that the Shelby has.
It doesn't have as deep of a throat as the Shelby. It's a factory exhaust, but it's stainless steel, and stainless steel just always has a different tone to it.
It does.
And I'm not a big, huge fan of it, but
It's a little sharper.
yes, it's a little more hollow sounding.
Uh-huh.
But it runs nice and strong.
She sure does. I mean, it's real positive power all the way through. I like having the speedometer kind of buried under that ledge. There's no glare, it's really clear.
Yep.
Certainly an interesting place for the tack, though. You know,
Yes.
kind of, oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
over
talk
there.
about an afterthought.
We need tack. Boom, over here.
Or maybe it was by design that they kind of wanted to give it that hot rod drag strip, you know,
Yeah.
look of an aftermarket tack.
This is another hood that I like looking out over.
Yeah,
It's got some interesting
Yeah,
lumps and bumps in it too.
that's a great hood. I prefer the SS hoods that Chevy did to the Cal induction hoods. And
Yeah.
by the rate of Cal induction hoods we sell, I know that they're very popular.
They're very popular.
They're very popular.
You find them on everything.
I love the SS hoods with the chrome ornaments. It's a little dressier, I think. So.
There was a lot of Chevelles on the road back
Yes.
in the 60s.
We've been blubbering about how great GM was in the mid-60s, but they were building such a fantastically built and reliable product, and people were buying them
And
for
good
gross.
looking too.
Yeah.
Good styling.
Yeah, they were very tuned in to what people wanted.
So until our next meeting, remember, honor the timeless classics. I'm Dennis Gage. Happy motoring.